about to think of some questions.
I will call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education, which was duly noticed on February 7th, 2014, through posting and notification of the press in accordance with Wisconsin Statute 19.84. The first item, the Pledge of Allegiance. Students from Parker High School, 11th grade, Dallas Lindell and Chris Joyner. Be better than me this time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is consider approval of the February 2011 Board of Education agenda. Nothing is computing right. Motion by Commissioner Soderman, second by Commissioner Hasselbacher. Probably was the other way around, but the board should vote. All right. And that passes unanimously. Okay. Next item, safety share and message. And, I guess I will say one quick item from a safety share standpoint. And I believe it may have been in the newspaper yesterday. As we drive down the roads and we have our wonderful roads with seams, and it seems like we're having roller coasters. We need to make sure that we take the time to slow down a little bit more, because it's a little easier to lose control of a car going over a bump. So just make sure that we're factoring that in. So, Dr. Cargill with our message.
Thank you, President Argery, Board Commissioners, good evening, members of the Cabinet and audience. Tonight, it's a pleasure to deliver the safety message. Did you know that February the 11th is Safer Internet Day? Yes. Safer Internet Day. So I'm asking you, be an upstander, not a bystander. Online or offline, bullying hurts. Teach your children what is and isn't acceptable communication on the web. And if you suspect your child might be the victim of bullying or engaging in bullying activity, step in. Tonight, I will share 3 points of good advice offered by Family Online Safety Institute that might be useful when you have those conversations with your children. First, it's important to help children understand what bullying is, so they know what to do if they are bullied. Bullying goes beyond meanness or drama. It's intended to harm and is a repeated threatening or aggressive behavior. Talk to kids about the difference. Make sure kids know what to do and how to respond if they are being bullied. Encourage them not to react or retaliate. Instead, talk to a parent, teacher, or other trusted adult and have them help resolve the problem. Lastly, while the majority of kids don't engage in bullying, some will be witness to it. Talk to kids about the importance of being an upstander, not a bystander. When it comes to bullying at school or online, emphasize the importance of dignity, empathy, and respecting differences, and encourage them to speak up in difficult situations. I'd like to personally thank Paul Stengel and the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Office for helping me create the safety message for this evening. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Dr. Cargill. Our next item is our evidence-based leadership message. Kim Parenboom.
Good evening, President Argery, Commissioners, Dr. Schulte, members of the Cabinet, and audience members. Tonight's evidence-based leadership message comes from the Standards of Professional Behavior pillars of people and safety. Continuous inclement weather has been with us for quite some time. Thus, more parents have been choosing to pick up their children in a personal vehicle after school. This increase in after-school pickup to keep their children away from the harsh elements began to create a safety issue at Wilson Elementary. The after-school pickup zone was not equipped to handle the volume of traffic that was trying to get in and out. Cars were backing up on both sides of Rockport Road, and Lincoln Street was often blocked. Parents, frustrated because of dangerous maneuvers other parents were trying to make to get into the pickup zone, were frustrated that a potential child could be hit or an accident may occur. I met on an individual basis with many parents, and after meeting with the parents and observing firsthand what was occurring, we put a plan into place. I met with after-school supervisors, and we developed the following plan. The new plan created a south to north, traffic flow pattern with only one point of entry and one point of exit. All other entrances and exits were coned off. We informed parents of this new plan through Alert Now messages, and a map with very specific details was sent home with children in backpacks the Friday before the new implementation. Staff were also informed, so if they were approached with questions or concerns, they would be able to answer those for parents. Upon entry near the river is our south point of entry now. All parents come in a single file line for a loading zone right next to the curb and right next to the sidewalk. This allows for a second lane of traffic as an exit lane, so when cars are carefully loaded, parents can pull out into the exit lane and go out the most northern point of the school. This also allows other vehicles in line for pickup to stay continuously in motion, keeping the traffic flow going. This plan has been in place for about 3 weeks now, and the results have been very positive. Since we've expanded the loading zone, instead of only being able to load 6 to 8 cars safely, we can now load 15 to 18 cars very safely. The parents have expressed through the office and through the after-school supervisors that they are very pleased with the new system because of its efficiency. And the after-school supervisors have also noted that pickup after school now takes about 10 minutes compared to 15 to 20 minutes in the past. At this time, I would be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Mr. DeStefano.
I've got a lot of questions on this one just because all the elementary schools, this is a mess. Specifically the one that my kids go to, Harrison, and Commissioner Schilling can attest to this. Your 2 lanes of traffic, how do you get the people to actually stay in line? Because what happens at Harrison, and that's the one I'm most familiar with, although I've seen it at Jefferson and Monroe and Kennedy as well, they come in and then they don't stay in line, and they kind of, you know, I don't know how you describe it, but it's just as unsafe. I mean,
yeah, and that was a struggle with our former pickup model when they were entering what we call our circle drive. Is they were coming in 2 lanes of traffic and double parking, but we've coned all that off. So they enter the southern entryway by the river, and that's right where the curb and the sidewalk is, and that's where they know the children can get in safely. We had a lot of hands-on that first week when we implemented it to kind of train parents to stay over to the side, but I think they're so pleased that they can maneuver out quicker
right.
through that open lane of traffic, that they're staying in line, and then the cars are actually moving forward on a consistent basis.
Okay.
So it is working.
You're getting license plates for the people who are non-compliant, and then also
I go out and meet with them, and we have at least 3 supervisors out there that also go out and gently remind them to where they need to be and to gently be pulling up as they should, yes.
I think, Dr. Hart, this would be a wonderful SAC thing for the other 11 elementary schools to also have a plan in place and provide bullhorns for the principal, you know, to call special attention. It is very frustrating, and you know the most frustrating part about it is, you know, I can see something really terrible about to happen, and really close, especially as President Audrey said, you know, there's snow and ice and stuff, and cars still are flying through there. So I think a good safety plan and pickup plan for all the elementary schools is probably worth discussing. So, nice job.
Dr. Cargill?
I'd also like to add, after principals have exhausted all of their efforts to help control traffic, the Janesville Police Department will also come out and assist with the flow of traffic. All we need to do is make that call once we can share what efforts have been put in place to address the issue as well. So we have help.
So this happens to be one that, from a safety standpoint, from my thought, it doesn't need to go through a SAC anything. We need to just meet, implement, send out information. Yeah, we got to police it a bit. Kudos. I really appreciate listening to the parents and looking at the observations of what really needed to take place and coming up with a solid plan. And that's what the evidence dictated for us to do something, and we did. So congratulations to you. But then I also would say, as a district, we need to follow up, because as Commissioner DeStefano describes, I'm sure that it's happening in many of the other elementary school locations. So we need to change that as quickly as we can. So, any others? Thank you. Thank you. Now, on that one, I'm standing for that. Okay. Next, board commendation for the robotics team led by Bob Getka and team. And I almost would have some introductory comments, but everything I could say would probably steal some of the thunder, so I'll just go right to Mr. Getka.
Thank you again for inviting us. I would like to introduce the team, and they have a presentation set up. Our lead programmer this year, Blake Stacks, followed by Justin Guy, Noah Seichter, Alex Lippincott, Chris Hansen, Keegan McCluskey, Bobby Getka, Jeff Waite, Nathan Hermanson, Travis Duffy, and Jeremy Watson, and 2 members couldn't make it tonight, Stephen Presti and Sam Schendel. We would like to present to the board some thank you notes. Pass those down. Thank you very much. Dr. Schulte, we'd like to present you with a calendar. Thank you note. Thank you very much. And from there, I'll leave it to Blake to take over.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the board for your time. And without further ado, I will continue with my presentation. All right. I'm here to talk about the MIT Zero robotics trip that we took in mid-January. We took it because we
Get some lights for you.
Oh, okay, sorry. We took it because we placed highly in the preliminary rounds of this competition, and we proceeded on to the finals at MIT. It's through the board's gracious support that we had the funding, so thank you very much. I'd like to present some pictures. These are different movement methods for the Sphere satellites, one of which is pictured here. Each of these Sphere satellites costs roughly $250,000, $250,000. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, we did touch it. No, that's a good thing we did not break anything. Yeah, he's got the golden finger, though. I can tell you that. We also toured the MIT campus and Boston in general, and let me tell you, it was phenomenal. One of the best experiences of my life, honestly, so far. This is a picture of the computer science wing of the MIT campus. It's designed by a very prominent architect, whose name escapes me.
Frank Gehry.
Yeah,
G-E-H-R-Y.
Yes, that's it. It's the architecture wing and some historic buildings and a dormitory, which is very cool. Some other close-up images of the computer science wing here and the architecture, as well as a mathematical sculpture, a whole bunch of made from a whole bunch of symbols used in math. And here we ate out at a very nice restaurant, and yes, it was very fun. Eat well, eat like kings. All right, these are some pictures of the actual competition itself. There was quite a few people here this year. Nearly the whole auditorium was filled. It's rather surprising, considering pictures of last year were rather sparse, people-wise. They started out with an introduction of the game, and after that, they progressed to start the competition. Here we have representatives from each of our from both alliances that were competing at the time. This is me from representing our alliance, and my partner in crime, I guess you could say, from the other team in Charlottesville, Virginia. And this fellow in the black shirt is the representative from the other alliance that we were facing against. We actually won that one. So, yes. This is a team photo of of our comrades in Virginia, and this is a team photo of us with real live astronauts. It's really cool. Here's a close-up of all the astronauts. This man right here on the end, he actually was involved in the mission that took up the satellites to the ISS in the first place. So that was really quite neat to meet him. And we also had the pleasure of meeting the director of special effects at Digital Domain, which worked with the producers who directed Transformers and Ender's Game. So it was very, very interesting. We also went to the MIT Museum, in which we saw moving sculptures that were exhibits, as well as old robots, and a very nice hologram right here. You walked around it, and it looked like you were walking around a real object, a real apple that was right there. So it was really neat. Yeah. In addition to some more kinetic sculptures here, and a plasma ball. All right. We also went to the Boston Museum of Science, which had a 3 million volt Tesla coil that fired off every half an hour and produced a show. And while we were there, we visited the butterfly garden, which was host to quite a few butterflies, rather terrifying, if I might add. And you can see here, faintly, the picture didn't turn out too well, but there was an exhibit where you could flash light, and it would, with the shadows, where the shadows were, it wouldn't phosphoresce, so it would glow where the light had hit it. It was as if your shadows remained there forever. It was really neat to look at. In addition to some motion graphics that you could interact with, including sound. Okay, our final standing. In the 2D competition, as a review, we placed 16th out of 175 in the world. In the 3D competition, we placed 20th in the US and 39th in the world. In the Alliance competition, we finished 2nd in the US and 5th in the world. And in the ISS finals, we finished 4th in the US bracket. All right. And as a result, we got a neat plaque, which I have here. If anyone would like to take a look at this, it will be with right here. Right.
I can pass it.
Oh, okay.
You can all touch it.
You can all touch it,
Yeah. It's a nice plaque. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much. Questions? Yes.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. President. Not so much questions, only because I just want to, only because I raised my hand first, I get to say it first, because everyone else will say the same thing. How proud, absolutely proud I am of all you guys. I mean, this was your first time doing this, right?
Yes.
First time and fourth in the U.S. Not too shabby, I guess is how I would put it. So, you know, of course, if now I'm going to put my school board member part on there, because I would be saying this to Dr. Schulte if she were to say fourth. So next year you're going to do better than fourth, right? At least that's the hope that I have. But either way, I am completely and utterly proud of you. And as a former Viking, go Vikes. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Mr. Sutter.
I'll ditto Scott's comments. Well done. I have one question. I noticed that your alliance partner
Yes.
had other genders represented, where your group is of one gender. And
Yeah.
being the father of daughters who are smarter than I am, I'm just curious, are we able to attract females to the club as well? Is it
We have done a much better job of getting girls in the programming club this coming up years.
Okay.
So we do have about 1/3 of our girls in our programming one class are young ladies. And if you remember, was it 2 years ago, Maggie O'Leary was the number one programmer
okay, thank you.
in the state of Wisconsin here. So
all right?
It-
Well done.
In addition, I think about a third of the competitors there from other teams were actually women. So it's
Actually?
yeah, hard to believe. Dr. Schulte.
Dr. Schulte.
Well, I am very, very proud of all of you, but I know something, and that is that there are two gentlemen standing with you that without their hard work, long hours, sweat, long suffering, you guys probably wouldn't be here today and wouldn't have made it to MIT. So, Mr. Bob Getka and Mr. Tom Heiss, you really did it.
Mr. Shuffle now.
Who's returning for next year? I mean, I guess who's the seniors? The group, and then who?
seniors inside.
Seniors. All right. The rest of you are coming back. Excellent. Good.
Any other questions or comments? No? Thank you for your
Since
time.
I helped Scott get a chance to say kudos first, I'll be the last one to say. Sorry. I just want to say, great effort. We are extremely proud of you, as Commissioner Phelps said. But even more important, it's just one more beacon that shines here in Janesville, and it's thanks to you guys. So congratulations, and I have a little certificate for you.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't quite handy to get everybody in order. Right there. Alex.
Okay, there you go.
And then
There you go.
Keegan. Sam.
Thank you.
Travis. Ed. Justin. Chris. Noah.
Pretty impressive what these kids can do.
All right, once again, congratulations.
Thank you for your time.
I am a parent of one of these guys over here. I have 3 sons, and I want to personally thank you for making this possible. These guys aren't star athletes. They may play on some teams, and some of them may be, but what you did was reinforce that being smart is well worth it. And I can't tell you how very important that is. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
That was a perfect way to open up our citizen comments, and won't even make her fill out a sheet for that one. Yeah, that's true. Are there any other citizen comments? Okay, seeing none. Next are the student presenters to the board from Craig High School. Jensen Skinner. Doesn't look like Jensen.
That doesn't look like Jordan over there, though. That's not Jordan.
Good evening, Board President Ardrey, Superintendent Schulte, Commissioners, and guests. My name is Jensen Skinner, and I am here to represent Craig High School. The past month at Craig has been very busy. We had a showing of a Martin Luther King video made by students in advisory and at Black Hawk Tech. There was also a showing of the documentary 1649, and we took exams. After exams, students selected their classes for next year. The Janesville Creativity Awards were held, where Ms. Cassette won Art Educator of the Year. And this past weekend, Spotlighters took third place at their competition. Currently, we have a new Dean of Students, Sandra Robinson, our first international student, Edward, and today we had our second blood drive of the school year. This Friday is a teen dating violence awareness game at the girls' basketball game. We also have many upcoming events at Craig, such as our Sadie Hawkins dance, Soul Food Night at Parker, and the Craig Parker girls game on February 20th. On February 26th, juniors and interested freshmen and sophomores will be taking a practice ACT while seniors take their class picture and receive their caps and gowns. There is also an upcoming choir performance on Friday, and the Wisconsin Singers will be coming next Friday. The next PTO meeting is March 3rd, and Student Council will be doing a swap day with Milton. All these events bring us to the next meeting, and I look forward to bringing you the results.
I was going to ask about the status of our Dean of Students, so thank you very much, Jensen, for taking care of that. Next, from Parker High School, that is not Jordan Pyre, so I won't even say that.
No, Jordan is very, very busy tonight with zombie prom, so he asked me to step in. My name is Grace Stewart. Good evening, President Ardrey, Commissioner, Superintendent Schulte, and guests. February has been a busy month at Parker High School. Here's a summary of things that are happening in our classrooms. We officially started the second semester and completed our exams after 2 cold days and a water main break. Students also completed subject selection for the 2014-2015 school year. We piloted a new system for subject selection where each student had a mini conference with a guidance counselor before they submitted their course requests. Students reported that this was very helpful. Parker FFA competed in the district speaking contest at Milton High School and had great success. Students competed in the FFA Creed contest, discussion and job interview contest. Additionally, the parliamentary procedure team placed second, as did our prepared speaking competitor. Both will compete at sectionals in March. Junior-senior internship students completed their internship placements and gained wonderful experiences during their time at each site. Each student received a letter of recommendation from their mentor to proceed into the field of study relating to their internship site. Parker had 5 students complete the additional requirement to earn their Assistant Child Care Teacher certification from the state of Wisconsin. This certification is offered in our Assistant Child Care class in the Family and Consumer Ed department. This qualifies them to work as an Assistant Child Care Teacher in any state licensed child care facility in the state. Forensics and Parker Playhouse collaborating with the 10-minute plays to give students public speaking practice. Additionally, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Parker High School Winter Musical, Zombie Prom is being presented at Parker, which Jordan is practicing right now. Human Relations Club, along with Sis and Bro, are organizing a trip for Parker kids to attend the White Privilege Conference on March 26th in Madison. We are fortunate that this event is in our area this year, and we will have over 30 Parker students in attendance. Over 750 students completed the Presidential Physical Fitness Test, with 78% of the students improving their scores in at least 2 events. Students participated in our first intramural volleyball tournament with champions determined in all 7 hours. Later this school year, those champions and this semester's champions will meet in an intramural tournament with Craig High School to determine an overall high school championship. Spanish National Honor Society participated in the Ethnic Food Fest at the Martin Luther King event held at Black Hawk Tech College. Students made and served quesadillas at the event. Additionally, we have 7 students who will travel to Costa Rica this summer for a cultural field trip, including ziplining through the Costa Rican rainforest and touring the volcanoes, amongst many other adventures. Approximately 95% of the Parker High School students registered to take the National French exam, which will be given later this spring, and 7 French students recently signed up to participate in the Wisconsin French-speaking competition later this month. And last but not least, the Parker boys and girls bowling teams qualified for the state bowling competition taking place the weekend of February 28th through March 2nd in Green Bay. As you can see, Parker is a busy place. Thank you for allowing me to share some of the great things going on at our school.
Thank you. I'll have to ask about the Dean of Students at Parker later. Hey, when you get a scoop, gotta go with it. Consider approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Felch, second by Commissioner Hesselblacher. Any discussion, any items to be pulled out? Okay, seeing none. With the addition of the sheet of resignations at your table, the board should vote. And that passes unanimously. Next is update on the Janesville International Education Program. Dr. Schulte.
Thank you, Board President Audrey. There was interest last time in the JEEP steering committee on the agenda and the minutes. So I have the draft of the agenda. The meeting's coming up February 20th. So I'll pass those around. This is in draft form. It's Jane Thompson that runs the meeting, and I've asked my secretary to make sure the board always gets the agenda and the minutes as they come out. And then Keith will report on the budget. Yeah, right now.
Oh, okay.
No, tomorrow.
When it was at the end of the list, I thought I was moving
That's all
forward.
I have.
Okay. We have an update on the budget for the JEEP program through January 30th. There has not been a lot of activity recently, so there's not a lot of changes between January 30th and today. But the Summer Institute, the revenues are about $182,000. The expenses at this moment are about $159,000. So right now, there is a net positive number of about $22,000 in the JEEP program right now. Again, things will start to pick up a little bit more as we start working on the summer program, but that's where we stand as of January 30th.
Discussion, questions? Okay. Commissioner Murray.
Thank you. Could you give me those numbers one more time, please?
182, 159.
What was that again?
182, 159.
Well, the last report that I have that was dated as of through October 10th, though it's total revenue, you know, the Summer Institute, Fund 21, donation, local budget, DPI grant.
Yeah, we realized that we gave some information there that really wasn't the JEEP. So what I would compare my numbers to tonight, I believe, is the first column on that page.
Okay. I'm just pausing to think then what's the appropriate way to talk about the overall Jeep budget, because there are other columns on here that we're not going to account for those, or we're just saying
That's
know.
not necessarily part of the Jeep program. We did merge the $5,000 that were in the budget into the numbers I gave tonight, but the others, the things that are specifically identified and accounted to for the Jeep program are what I've been reporting on tonight.
So was the $3,266 to produce the Jeep video, was that part of this expense that you told us tonight?
I don't have the details. You get back to you on that.
What about the $1,000 a month that we spend for the Wheatfield consultant as a interpreter? Is that part of the expense?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't see this coming. Now I have to rethink about how I feel we should be looking at the revenue and expense side of the Jeep program. So what is and what isn't considered revenue and expense when we're talking about Jeep now all of a sudden? Now we're excluding, some columns. So now I have to think about this more. What that all means. Okay, thanks.
Any other? Okay, seeing none. The next item is discuss.
I have some other questions about Jeep. I thought we were just talking about the.
Oh, that was the update.
Okay, I have some other questions now.
Mayor? Yeah.
So I guess it's what's next. We've been communicating a little bit by email, the superintendent and I. So evidently, the superintendent and our CEIO are scheduled to return to China. That's the plan. Mm-hmm.
We are exploring that. I'm looking at the goal the board set for me for 100 students in the fall, and it's February, and so I'm getting nervous. And so we were successful last year when I went specifically and spoke to parents that were interested in bringing their students over, and so I think I need to make that connection again.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Next, item 11, discussion of national and state legislative issues. What we have here is, first of all, we have a legislative committee meeting where our local legislators, state legislators, are coming and having a discussion with us. We've prepared some questions for them and sent them out for them. And that is February 24th at 10:30 here at the ESC. But before I go any further with that, I really would prefer the main organizer in this area has been Commissioner Murray. So Commissioner Murray, if you could share, I guess, which legislators has confirmed that they will be in attendance.
Sure, Representative Kolstey, Jorgensen, Ringhand, and Loudenbeck, and Senator Cullen have confirmed to meet. And we're drafting this agenda. As soon as it's finalized, I'll sure to send it out. But it's not, let me put it this way, it's about charter schools, vouchers, the length of the school year, hours versus days discussion, guns. It's going to give them the opportunity to discuss those items, anything else they wish. I know Representative Loudenbeck has a technical school bill that is getting some bipartisan support, so she can inform us on that as well. But it's very informal, just to stay connected and keep us informed. But I'll share that.
Well, and what Commissioner Murray is really the representative of the resolutions that the Wisconsin Association of School Boards passed from a resolution standpoint with positions really to the legislator. So we thought, well, it would be great to have them locally discuss their views and share with them ours. Is there any questions or comments related to that? Commissioner Hasselbacher.
I may not be able to meet to make that meeting on the 24th, Kevin, but when you talk about length of school year, and that's one thing that has always concerned me, and I believe it was brought up at the WASBA convention, is the start of the school year. The fact that we can't start until a certain date, and it has nothing to do with what's best for kids or what's best for the school year or what's best for the local school district. It has to do with something else entirely, and it's inscribed in state statute, and that's been driving me crazy for 13 years. So if you could bring that up, perhaps, that we would like a little more flexibility to meet local needs, that would be great.
Perfect. Oh, that was one ad
Said
that we
my
had.
piece.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, and the next effort is the Forward Janesville has really led putting a group of, I would say, local business leaders, the city management office, Dr. Schulte, Commissioner Damerhausen, and myself to take the legislative issues to Washington, D.C. to discuss with our local, well, number one, our local elected officials in Washington, D.C., but then also to hear them out on some issues and share our viewpoints and some of the difficulties that we have really here in the school district. So really the person that has been spearheading developing questions as far as items for us to cover with them has been Commissioner Damerhausen. Thank you very much, Commissioner Damerhausen. Would you like to share any of the information that you've put together so far? And when I say put together, clearly with having the group that we are really the contingent that's going there from the city of Janesville is about 30 of us. So we're trying to pick off the main items to discuss. So they asked us from an educational standpoint, what were our 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 top items for discussion? So as I was saying, Commissioner Damerhausen headed that up.
I'll just take a moment and explain. Basically, we look for issues from the Wisconsin Association of School Boards. We look at it from board members. We got some. We had questions presented to us through WEAC, our teachers and our organizations, the Rock Valley Education Association. So we really came up with just a few questions so far. And Dr. Schulte and our information specialist, Kevin, is working and narrowing them down. But the biggest emphasis is on funded mandates or underfunded, and that's really where it's showing up. And Dr. Schulte, if you have any more you want to share, that's where I would go.
Sure. I put together a little outline, actually Mr. Levy did, of some of the things that we'll be looking at, the Affordable Care Act, IDEA, Title I, and as Commissioner Damerhausen said, funding issues or lack of funding. So we wanted to make sure that the board had opportunity to give input. If there are other items that they want to make sure that we touch on while we're there, we'd be happy to entertain any of your ideas. Commissioner Hasselbacher sent one to us, and so I included that on the outline.
Commissioner Soderman?
If I read the paper correctly, the delay was only for employees of 50 to 100, not above 100, right?
Yes.
Maybe I missed that, but so right now we are still
in, yes.
Looking under the gun for a problem or problem to fix. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't get that changed when I found out. Wishful thinking.
Commissioner DeStefano.
I would just concur, at the bottom, I don't know if this is Dr. Schulte, if this is your summary, as far as what we care about the most, the effect of the ACA, I think, is the top of the heap. I mean, this is not only a budgetary concern, but how it's going to affect our students. Whether we're going to have two bodies instead of one, as far as consistency. A lot of these employees, they're going to have reduction of hours. That's going to hurt this economy. I mean, there's multiple effects. I mean, there's nothing positive with the ACA. So I guess I will end it there.
Or at least with respect to the school district.
Yes. Well, yes. That,
Any other? Commissioner Murray?
Nope. I agree with almost everything you said. No, the part of how it affects the hours and the working conditions here is, I couldn't agree with you more, David.
And clearly, it's going to affect our students and staff. It's not a positive, so.
Right.
Okay, any other thoughts related to the outline that Dr. Schulte has put together? Okay, if you have any, if you could, once we leave here, if you want to share those with us, that would be great. Thank you. Next, announcements. And I guess maybe announcements, I guess one of the questions that I would have as parents, they're probably going, do we have any definitive thing with respect to snow dates, planning? Do we know where that's at yet? So I guess this might be a time to share that. I know it's not necessarily on the agenda, but in the area of announcements, we probably could do that.
The information that was shared at the last board meeting stands as it was presented. Okay. So there will be 2 days added at the end of the school year.
The
correct?
information is being shared through the schools.
Okay. Thank you. Any other announcements? Dr. Schulte.
Well, I heard some interesting news today, which I wasn't aware of, that you all are familiar with the musical that we have every summer that is run by our staff, Mr. and Mrs. Knutson primarily, and Jim Trupp. And we do that musical with a number of other schools throughout the county and even outside of our county. And we had 3 open enrollment students this year as a result of our outstanding music program. So that's always very exciting to me. And then we also received a student this year from one of the private schools because of, I think it was at a board meeting when we had a demonstration of one of our STEM programs, I believe at Edison Middle School. And so they saw that, they viewed that, and got interested and sent their student here. So 4 open enrollment students.
Other announcements? Mr. Murray?
I can't help but, want to mention Tucker Frederick's name again. 4-time Olympian, competed probably in his last Olympics, but another honorable Janesville High School student. So,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no others, future board agenda items. Are there any? Quiet night. Commissioner Soderman.
This is incredible.
Will there be an update on our scheduled information to get back regarding OPEB plans? Is that still, waiting for the results back that Dr. Kale sent out? So those aren't back yet?
No, they are not yet.
Okay.
Do we have a timeline?
No, she has not. I have not heard back from Key Benefits on the timeline yet. I do
Okay.
know that they've been working on them. They're in their hands at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. If there's no other future board agenda items, we have reached the end of our agenda and we are adjourned.